What's going on, guys? Super Savage 789 here, bringing you guys a video. Today doing what if the Tuffles fled to Earth. Now, as the title suggests, the Tuffles will be sent to Earth. So, how would this happen? Well, it happened towards the end of the war with the Saiyans. Knowing that loss was the only option, the Tuffles decide to regroup and flee the planet. They get their women, their children, and their scientists and send them off planet as the remaining warriors fight a losing battle. I believe they choose Earth due to the similar nature it shares with the Tuffles, like appearance. Even though the technology isn't as advanced, the Tuffles should be able to teach them their ways in order to live among them. Now, at what point would the Tuffles flee? Well, anything we have about the Tuffles' death would have to be retconned due to Dragon Ball Minus, as well as some stuff in Super. I understand that this might get really fanficky, so if you don't like those types of videos, feel free to leave now. So we'll need to do some mental gymnastics in order to figure out a semi-accurate timeline of events. We'll need to make a few assumptions though, but we'll get into that. So firstly, in the Dragon Ball Super manga, our Vegeta is referred to as Vegeta the Fourth by the Galactic Patrol. They refer to Goku as Kakarot, so you know this is the name that Vegeta has by law. This is typically how you'd refer to people if they shared the same name with rulers from the past, indicating to me anyway, that there were 3 Vegetas of royalty before him. It would mean the first King Vegeta would more than likely be Vegeta's great-grandfather. From here, we need to make 3 really minor assumptions. So if we don't know King Vegeta's age, we're going to say he's the same age as Paragus. I don't believe he is per se, but it's the best guess we can make. In order to figure out Paragus' age, we'll have to make another assumption. In the Broly movie, he had just begun to rapidly age. This is an assumption, don't take it by law. Saiyans begin rapidly aging around 80, so we'll say Paragus is 80 by the time of the movie. Counting backwards, this would mean Paragus is 37 around Vegeta's destruction, so we'll say King Vegeta was the same. From here, we have to make assumptions about the past rulers. That they both died of old age, and that the first was the first ruler of the Saiyans. That would mean the Saiyans beat the Tuffles roughly 160 years prior to the planet's destruction. Again, this is fanficky, I understand that, but please trust me, because what this leads to is the fun part. And overall, the story will be fanficky, but it will be very fun. With the Tuffles arriving on Earth, they'd be welcomed into human society with open arms and begin to integrate in quite well. They give the planet technological advancements and ultimately make the world much stronger, with stuff like battle armors and blasters. Crossbreeding would also be pretty common, leading to smarter and smarter people being born and ultimately making the world extremely big-brained. More pure humans become hard to find as the years go on, and as the hybrids continue to be born, technology begins to take over and fewer martial artists can be seen. This is also due to the power of the technology that is in their possession. The legend of the evil Saiyans would go around, becoming something of an urban legend on the planet. Since the Saiyans were the reason the Tuffles had to flee, the people would make sure to prepare, in case one of them had appeared on Earth. But that can never happen, right? On the flip side of things, the Saiyans wouldn't know that the Tuffles had to flee, and would claim victory all the same. And I think you know what this means. When it comes for Bardock to send his precious child off planet, he'd think nothing of sending him to Earth. The people on the planet do have pretty weak power levels, so it's definitely a suitable place to send him. As luck has it, he'd still land at Mount Paozu, and would be raised all the same by Gohan. His life just goes the same, with him killing Gohan and living alone, since nothing technological could happen in the woods. At the age of 12, Goku would return home holding a massive fish, ready to consume it when he hears the noise of rockets overhead. Quite confused, Goku goes inside and begins to eat, but can hear get closer, until eventually he hears muffled voices getting closer and closer, until eventually, door opens. Goku turns to see a woman wearing weird armor, holding a radar in hand. This is none other than Bulma in some battle armor. Seeing Goku, she didn't merely notice the tail, and begins to go into a panic, saying the word Saiyan over and over again. Confused, Goku says hello, which she takes as a death threat, pulling out a blaster. In her crazed state, she begins firing it rapidly, not able to control her aim. She fires all around except for Goku, who would just kick the blaster out of her hand, telling her that seems kinda dangerous, and to knock it off. Bulma begins to panic and recoil in fear, telling the Saiyan not to kill her, but is met by a confused look from Goku. He questions what a Saiyan is, and can he eat it, which confuses Bulma. She can clearly see the tail, she knows he's a Saiyan, but still Goku genuinely doesn't know what she's on about. As Goku begins to ramble, Bulma would pull out a scoutoscope and looks at Goku, learning that his power level is a measly 10, pretty weak for a Saiyan. She asks if he remembers anything about being a Saiyan, and he shakes his head. She asks if the tail is real though, and he says yes. So Bulma decides to educate Goku on everything she knows about Saiyans. When learning about them, Goku is visibly disgusted by his lineage, stating how he'd never do anything like that. Weirdly, Bulma believes him, staring him in the eyes and seeing no evidence of deceit or malice. That's when she notices Goku's Dragon Ball, where they have that whole interaction. When realizing the only way for Goku to give the ball is to come along, she immediately sets to get rid of the tail. She makes sure to inform him this. I'm sure that Goku would reluctantly agree since it'll probably grow back anyway, and so she blasts it off. The duo begin their adventure, Bulma having to give Goku a piggyback as she uses some jet boots to fly. As they fly, a pterodactyl is spotted not far away, and Goku grabs his Noibo, ready to attack it. Bulma shoots it down, however, telling him that her technology is stronger than him in every way, giving him a smug grin. Due to the speed of the rocket boots, they'd end up making it to Roshi's before nightfall, where they'd arrive on his island. When coming outside, he shows clear disapproval to them due to the armor Bulma wears. Kid these days, with their gadgets. Whatever happened to the age on martial arts? When spotting Goku's Noibo, he'd quickly realize that this is the grandson of his student, and be more open towards him since he practices martial arts. He even offers to train him once he's finished with the Dragon Ball trip. As a way for them to gain the Dragon Ball, he tasks them with searching for Turtle, so the duo will head off to find Turtle. Goku would be given Kinto Un during this time, so that's handy. As they begin searching, Bulma complains how finding a turtle in a forest is like finding a needle in a haystack. So when Goku asks if that's a turtle on the ground, she faceplants hard. They'd land and explain to Turtle the situation where they bring him back to Roshi. They would probably stay overnight in the capsule house on the island and then head off, Dragon Ball in hand. When arriving at Aro village, they're quick to learn about Oolong. Bulma promises to take care of it and they wait for Oolong to arrive. She then shoots Oolong in the head, watching as he reverts back to a pig form, now deceased. They're then given the Dragon Ball and continue moving. Even though the duo are flying, I'm sure Bulma would still want to take a rest, and with her capsule still on her, she takes a rest in a capsule house. Goku stands outside the guard where he encounters Yamcha, who beats up Goku. Then Bulma comes out and Yamcha flees. That night, Yamcha would return, but without Oolong there, Goku would be conscious and ready to battle. He would also have a full belly, so that means he beats up Yamcha, then he and Pua flee. The next day, Goku and Bulma head off to Fry Pan Mountain, and encounter Ox King and Chi-Chi all the same. While Ox King is pure human, I'll say that Chi-Chi is mixed race in this timeline, which is quite interesting, especially later on. She would still fall for Goku, and ultimately the duo would retrieve Roshi, who destroys the mountain like cannon. When encountering Monster Carrot, Goku would notice that his goons have normal-looking guns, and after he beats up Monster Carrot like normal, he asks what's up with their guns. Bulma explains how high-tech Tuffle stuff is super expensive. Luckily, she's not only smart enough to make it, but she's super rich. Like normal, Shu would jump them, however, his mech would probably be much stronger. I doubt that Bulma and Goku would let him get the balls since they wouldn't be in a car, but on person. So, using her immense knowledge, Bulma would break open the mech with Iron and reprogram it to explode, leaving Shu in a dazed, yet comedic state. They continue moving, arriving at Pilaf's castle, where they burst through the wall and hold Pilaf at gunpoint after realizing he sent Shu to get the ball. He's forced to give them the remaining ball, and then Goku knocks him and Mai out. With all 7 Dragon Balls, Bulma summons Shenron and wishes for a lifetime supply of strawberries. The balls then scatter and Goku heads off to train with Roshi while Yamcha and Pua go to live with Bulma. While living with Bulma, Yamcha should be amazed at how technologically advanced West City is, with flying cars and holograms everywhere. He never saw a utopia quite like this. Bulma would even make Yamcha an upgrade for his sword to make it a laser sword, which he is quite grateful for, stating how we saw something like this in an old cheesy movie that had really bad sequels and even worse prequels. Over at Roshi, both Goku and Krillin begin training with him. However, I doubt Roshi would make them look for launch first, stating how he's just glad some people are still keeping up on their martial arts. Also, Krillin would be full human. Just thought I'd mention it. During the training, Goku's tail would regrow, and he'd have to explain that he's a Saiyan, but neither Krillin nor Roshi care. They remove the tail for Goku and tell him that he clearly isn't dangerous, making Goku quite happy. At the 21st Tengaiji Budokai, it looked much different, with big monitors to show who's fighting who, and the power levels of who is fighting who. The order of fights goes the same, however, there are a few changes. With Goku having a different tail regrowth pattern, against Giran, he'd fall out the arena and lose immediately, which shocks everyone. Giran then loses to Nam in the next round. In the finals, Nam goes up against Jackie Chun, who doesn't really feel like fighting. He tells Nam that he did good to get this far, and if he ever feels like training, he should seek out Master Roshi. He then forfeits, giving Nam the win. Goku would have a feast with everyone else, ultimately leading to him leaving not long after. And that's all over him. If you like and subscribe and comment below, subscribe in the next part. If you liked it, make sure you give it a like, as 50 likes guarantees a part 2. And yeah, bye!